Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Devil's Advocate Trades Edition. So this week we have Caleb Christopher. He has two first names. So if I end up calling you Chris, just slap me. You have four? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. Thanks for that.
Welcome to the show, Caleb.
Thank you. You can call me Frederick if you want, because that's my legal first name.
Call me anything, but just not late for dinner.
There you go. Anything. If I respond to it, I guess it works.
Right? So you're saying Frederick is your legal name? So like Freddie?
You can call me that if you want.
No, you introduced yourself as Caleb. I'll be nice. I'll be nice. So cool story about you. By the way, I love the email that you sent me, how you listened to one of the podcasts and that you had a different perspective in regards to, well, with you being the owner and founder of Creative TC, which is all about new innovation. Exactly what it says is managing creative finance transactions, helping you achieve better ethical real estate deals with innovative finances.
That's
Super
on
cool.
my website?
Yeah, of course I did. Hello.
Okay, good. That's great. It's been a while since I've touched my website, but as a founder, I build stuff and I put it in place, and it's my job to cast a vision and let other people go execute. But that's a journey. Like learning to let other people execute my vision that's hard.
It is. It is. But I'm all about the feedback on it too, right? Because the only way we can get better is to let people give us the feedback and take it as constructive. Even if it sounds like it's not constructive, you can't get all in your feelings. It's your choice to make it constructive.
I grew up reading Proverbs, and I spent a lot of time in Proverbs. I got a study Bible that had these margins on the sides with like lines. And I just spent a lot of time in high school in Proverbs, and it talks about the wise man and the fool. And the wise man learns to take criticism. He doesn't turn it into an offense. He refuses to take offense at things, and just treat your critics like your I suppose your cabinet. You should have a varying degree of opinions on your cabinet. Take counsel and then take it internally and process things. You don't have to be offended.
I agree, but we're in a very interesting time because things that wouldn't offend us at one point now all of a sudden are like super taboo topics. And things that we should be a little bit more offended of are like completely fair game to anybody. And I always find it super fascinating that that's a thing, right? So just so I can let my listeners know, because it is Devil's Advocate Trades Edition, but they know that I'm in property. So I'm a condo consultant, but where I think you fit really well is that you are another resource. Everybody has to buy real estate. Everybody's involved in this real estate market in some way, shape, or form. And I think that you bringing a fresh perspective on what you do. Now, I'm not going to lie. Like, I totally creeped you. I know you have your own YouTube.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So,
I love being open to inspection. That's the whole point. It's like, I'm not hiding. In fact, on my personal website, I have a newsletter where I'm like, listen, I'll post my profits and my losses from my businesses and my real estate. There's no guru. I'm tired of guru talk. Like, I'm not that successful. I've got some basic success, and I've got, my wealth is in good relationships with people. I get to provide for multiple families. I have rich relationships, and I enjoy time with my kids, and I work from home. This is my home office. And so I'm wealthy in that regard. I've got a few houses. I've got a couple of businesses, and I just started another business, and one of them, we're going to hit a moonshot. You keep rowing and rowing, and you do good by people, and you either gradually build, which is building your empire, or sometimes you get to hit a moonshot. But if you don't, that's not a failure.
No. And I love that you said that, because I'll tell you, I've hit a few of them, and I just keep pivoting. Pivot. Okay, that's not what the market wants. That's not what's working for me. That's not what's working for the client. Let's pivot. And we change things. And I think that when you have the entrepreneurial tick, you're willing to look outside the box and go, what's not working, what's working, and how do we make this better? Because a lot of people are like, the old, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I'm like, sometimes it needs fixing, but you're too stuck in your ways to realize it.
Optimize that thing, you idiot. You go back and break stuff. Like looking at my own website, I've gone back to different websites and been like, oh, that's what we have? Oh, the flow is way better now. There's a way better way to do this. Let's go change it.
And I've been doing that. So right now I'm on my website journey. So my producer, who is the owner of Dynamic AI Hub, and he does a lot of stuff through AI. He does all my website stuff. So he built me an entire website. It was so cool, but because of the domain, like where my domain sits, like who I'm with, the hosting of it was really messing with his templates, and he was getting really pissy. So I was like, let's just swipe it. Like, we're just gonna just get rid of it, and we're gonna start over. And we're gonna make this super simple. And I loved his idea because he wanted to make it like the first AI web for like construction. So people could go in and like talk to my website, and it would respond to you in the way that I would respond. So it would learn me. And I was like, that's really cool. Scary, but really cool. So we wiped that, and we're going to do something a little bit more basic, a little bit more simple. And I am also pivoting right now as we speak. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah. You got to do what you got to do when you're an entrepreneur, right? And like you said, you've got a few investments, but I'll tell you what I love about you is that you're like, let's do transparency. You want to see what it looks like? Let's look at it. Let's look at the numbers, because that's what a lot of people do. They can talk the guru talk, but they're not willing to show any numbers, especially in their own person, like their own personal stuff, right? Their own business stuff. Like there's like, you talk to business owners, like, I'm not cracking open my books for anybody.
Yeah. While I'm doing tonight, I have a capital raise for my title company. Like, I started the title company already. So I underwrote it two ways. It works with and without funding. With funding, the pro forma shows an acceleration of like 2 years worth of, it's faster to grow our revenue. When we do our capital raise, that's part of my pitch is like, I've been in partnerships. I've been a member of an LLC that won't show me the books. And I'm like, it's literally not worth taking you guys to court. It's not worth the time and the money to take you to court. I know I'm right, and I know you're wrong, and you're in violation of the operating agreement and state law, and I've showed you. But the manager of the LLC refuses to comply. Whatever, man. Like, I guess I still get my checks and whatnot, but you guys are violating laws. So I've been a member of a bad partnership, and I'm committed to not do that, right? So I'm almost treating, I don't want to pitch it as a business mentorship, but people who are joining my venture, P&Ls monthly, balance sheet, statement of cash flows, quarterly investor group meeting calls. Let's talk through things. And if you have, this is why I'm not doing debt. A lender just expects a payment. Maybe less than what I'm bringing on other people for equity ownership, but I'm expecting people who are capitalized to come fund a company, have connections that they can leverage. And now they've got skin in the game, and they want to bring those connections that I would never otherwise get. And so it's worth it to me. I want investors who bring things to the table as well.
I agree. I think that especially when you're opening like when you have that type of business, like even I know my producer's probably going to come in and listen to this, or he will listen to it after the fact because he does all the editing. Not that I do any editing, just so you're aware. So if you say something, unless you want me to edit it, I usually just send it out straight as is. Okay. But he's very much in a similar, like he thinks similarly to you, the way he's like, I don't have time for bullshit. If you're not going to do it, I'm going to wash my hands of you, and I'm just going to carry on. I'm only going to do this to this, and we're not going to fight about it because, all the other things that you need me to do, I require access to other things in order to get you to where you need to be. You don't want to share it. Then we're only doing this to this, and this is the services you're paying me for. And I'm leaving it at that. And I think that that's also, it's good for the boundaries because there's so many of us that have grown up in the ideals of boundaries can get you fired. Right? Everyone's so scared of putting in boundaries. I'm not coming in 15 minutes before work. I'm not going to get you your coffee, or I don't want to have small talk with you. Everyone just did it because it was like, oh God, I don't want to get fired, or I don't want to get written up, or everyone's so scared of what the possible consequence could be for putting in a boundary, because that's what happens is we get, I don't want to say comfortable, because I don't think it's comfortable. I think it's just, we get conditioned to continuously do it to a point where we get grumpy about doing something for somebody. And then when we finally put our foot down and say, okay, this is starting to feel like an abuse. This is starting to feel like I'm being taken advantage of. And you start voicing your concerns as to why you feel that way. And people just get really like they get butthurt, and they're like,
and it's harder to do after the fact than up front.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, do it up front, say it up front. And they're like, well, what if I don't get the job? Then the job wasn't for you.
Yeah. Is that what you want to make your life out of?
Yeah. I'm
So
like,
yeah, there's got to be a threshold at which good enough is good enough, because I tend to want perfection personally, but
yeah.
I've
And
had to learn that good enough is good enough, and we just have to move on. Like progress requires being okay with some incomplete stuff.
And you know, I'm going to tell you something. This is it's going to blow your mind because you said you have kids, right?
Yeah, 4 of them.
So I'm going to tell you, your partner, your wife, would have learned that the hard way. As women, if you are very involved in all the things that you do and want everything to be somewhat perfect, and then you have children, you have to let things go.
Yeah.
Because they say, right? Sleep when baby sleeps. That's impossible because most women are wired. Most people are wired that when things are calm, that's when you do your stuff. But that's not good. I know. I have 2 kids of my own, and it was hard. It's hard. So what you're saying, in order to it, like for me to identify and for that to resonate with me, is it's like I get it because I had to stop. Like I'm like a clean freak, and I just had to let my house get a little bit untidy, and I was like losing my mind. But I have this brand new babe, and I'm like, well, what's more important? So that's where it comes down to priorities in your life. What's more important, right?
Yeah.
Is it important for you to have the job and maybe make the salary, or is it important for you to have a job that fits what your expectations are as well as theirs?
Yep. And like speaking of kids, I've set the expectation that sometimes I'm busy and working. Right now is not a time you want my attention, right? You need to go read or draw or something quiet and peaceful. And that's this is a season. The next couple hours are going to be that. And you can come gently knock on my door. You can ask me questions. You cannot barge in like it. I was just making an Instagram reel about this. We get upset when our expectations are violated. As a dad, I heck sure know about getting mad and upset about violation of expectations. And that's me learning to parent as well, because that's why I like working with teenagers at my church, and I like working with adults. And when we recruit people at Creative TC, it's like, listen, one of the things we tell them is we hire adults. I expect you to understand what's going on. I expect to be able to trust you, right? You've gotten this far in the interview process. We're making an offer to you because we think you have good judgment. So we expect you to exercise it on an ongoing basis. And if you have a challenge, you need to voice it. Like, stuff's not allowed to fester here. We expect you to manage yourself effectively. And I spent a lot of time building our core values, like 2 weeks, almost exclusively agonizing about what are my core values. And the process I used was, what did I love and dislike about certain people I've worked with in the past? Because I had this expectation. So I get upset. I get frustrated, not mad about people, but there's some gut feeling like something's off about that person. I'm trying to figure out what it is. I was able to put it into 5 core values, and we take everything down to, are you aligned with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? That's how you succeed at the company. You show alignment with core values.
Yep.
And every time something's wrong, it's a violation of one of those 5 core values.
Yep. No, and I agree with you, because that's why it's just core values also comes down to like policies inside of companies, right? So they're giving you what their expectation is. I think where people need to remember is that they have a voice in that time. If you don't agree with something inside of their policies or core values, vocalize it. Maybe it's something that they missed. Maybe it's something that you both can't get past. But there's always, I don't believe in people just staying quiet all the time. Like, speak up. Maybe there's something I missed. Maybe this is being interpreted by you. Maybe a lot of people have been interpreted like that. Maybe the verbiage is wrong, because the message that I want to me makes sense, but maybe it doesn't make sense to, half the people.
Yep. 2 things. One is going to be my college application. The other is I already lost it. All right, back to the college application. It's that fast for me. Sorry. Visionary mind just has things. When I applied it was a Christian college. And when I got on, they said the agreement that nobody reads and signs. The agreement said, mentioned 2 specific topics we're not allowed to discuss or debate on campus, or as a member of the school, because it's a divisive issue. I get it. I understand why they would want that. But I said, I can commit not to initiate one of those conversations, but I will not refrain from, if somebody else initiates, I'll participate, which also means I already know I'm the only person who's not made the same agreement as everybody. So everybody else has an agreement not to do it. So basically I'm saying yes, but I'm not going to commit to not having that discussion. And when somebody brought it up, I said, hey, let's have this discussion off campus out of respect for the rules. But it's reading stuff. Like, that's my personality, is I read the fine print, though. Sounds like you kind of do too. Yep. Because I want to be comfortable with everything I've decided to do.
Well, that's it, right? And so like when people ask me to sign things, whether it's contracts or whatever the case may be, agreements of sorts, I read the whole thing. I'm that person. Even if my Apple phone is like, we have a new blah, blah, please read the terms of agreements. I'm not the person that just scrolls to the bottom. I actually read it.
I do break that one.
I'm signing myself up for.
Yeah, I do break that one. I know there's nothing I can do about it. And so when it's nothing I can do about it, sometimes I skip.
That's fair. That's fair. It's true. I mean, like I could say reject, then what's going to happen? Are you going to stop allowing me to use your Apple product?
They will.
It's like, no. And they're like, well,
back
go to
to
Android.
T9 texting.
Right? Damn it, why won't this go through? Well, you said no on the terms and agreements.
That's right. I remember when I thought text messages were, this was 10 plus years ago, 15 years ago. Oh my gosh, time has flown. I thought text messages were 10 cents a word. So my friend and I had this whole thing where we would type with no spaces. And we had to read a block of text and decipher where the spaces go, because we thought it was 10 cents per word.
That's hilarious. So you'd make one word, but it would be like 14 words.
Yeah. Yeah, because we didn't want to pay, I don't want to pay per word. So one of us heard wrong, and we were like, I don't want that bill, so I'll send you one message for 10 cents.
I think it was like, at one point it was like 10 or 25 cents a text, not a word.
Yeah, that's what it was. But now that I look back and realize, but I just remember opening my phone. The first one of those I ever got was, I just had a sausage, egg, and cheese McBagel at McDonald's, and it's the best sandwich I've ever had in my life. You have to try it. No spaces.
I mean, at least you guys both spoke the same language, because I mean,
today's kids will never know what that was like.
Oh my God. And then like the T3 texting. 33333. Don't you remember? T9, sorry.
T9. Yeah.
T9 texting.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, you had like 33332224444. And it's like, so I always find it funny when I see those reels where it has, like it spells out words in how many times you have to hit the number. And I remember my kids came up to me and they were like, Mom, what does this say? And I'm like, oh, it says go F yourself. And they're like, how do you know? And I'm like, because you have to, it correlates with the letters on the phone. And they're like, that's rude. And I'm like, agreed, but that's what we had to do. It took a lot longer to write a text when it first started. We were part of the generation that text was just beginning to be a thing.
You had to mean it. You had to want it.
That's right. And we did it on our Nokias. And our, what are they called?
That you could run over with a car.
Yeah. It's not wrong. I had two different Nokias. I had a BlackBerry and I had what are they called? Oh, it's like the other Motorola, the flip phone.
Razor?
Star something.
The Razor?
Razor.
Oh, yeah. Those were like the stuff, dude. I never got one.
We're so dating ourselves right now. Everybody's like, oh, clearly they're like in their 40s.
38, thank you.
And it's like, no. I swear I looked in the mirror today and said I can't be more than 32. I swear.
I remember, we need to get off this topic in a minute, but I remember phone size. It was all about thinness.
Yes.
Then it went to about the tininess. Like there were flip phones that were this tall after you flipped them open. Like they made them. We thought it was a joke, but some people actually made them the size of like a Zippo lighter or something crazy.
I remember I saw those and I was like, I'm not getting one of those. I need something that I can hold. And now my phone's like super big. It's like,
yeah, the bigger the better.
iPhone 16 plus.
You know, what I wanted was one of those handy cam straps on my iPad, like this, and I could just hold it like this and talk on the phone. But then if you turn the camera on, I could have it right here, so I could still see to the side, because the back camera would just be showing me what I'm missing. Like, am I a genius? Maybe.
I mean, that's pretty slick. That's pretty slick, Caleb.
All right, moving on.
Oh, God, that's hilarious. Okay, so tell me some of the things. Tell me 3 key things that you tell your audiences in regards to real estate financial. that is like game changing stuff without giving away your product? Like,
No,
is
no.
there three things that you tell people that they have no frigging clue until you've said it? It's like the, you know what I mean? Like the repetitive epiphany every time you have the conversation, people are like, oh.
I work with a lot of real estate investors who are buying single family homes, but they're buying them subject to an existing mortgage, creative finance. So it's not using a bank. That's my whole business model. And I built this company because that wasn't there for me. And I like figuring stuff out. And so they're coming to me with their first, maybe their fifth, maybe their 10th deal. And there's always some new insight. Even the old pros coming to me are like, oh, that's a good question. I've never asked that before. You've just been lucky most of the time, which is fine. I mean, there's a lot of life is you luck through stuff and and then you realize later, oh, wow. And those things are talking about gross versus net, talking about actual. So when somebody's buying an investment property, they're looking at the entry fee, but what they really mean is the cash to close, not the entry fee. The entry fee is how much it costs to do the deal, to make it work. Case in point, I taught my team today, I just reminded them because they already know this, about an Airbnb. If you buy an Airbnb, yeah, it may cost you $40,000 or $60,000 to close on it, but then you have to furnish it. You have to pay the mortgage in the meantime. You have to pay utilities and insurance in the meantime. And that adds up. That's another 10, 15, 20K of just expenses, maybe more, probably more. And then you have like a month or two of startup. You have like marketing photos and the listing and maybe upfront fees. And so your total in on this thing is 110. And if you budgeted for 40 plus 20 and then an emergency reserve on top of that, you just, in reality, you used the entire kit and caboodle and you have no emergency fund left over. So under budgeting based on gross versus net is one of those things for income, and then based on entry fee versus, or like cash to close versus entry fee. Those are the two, I would say.
Okay. Those are important. I know with people buying real estate, even if it's just their first house coming in, because I mean, everyone's so like, I mean, so I'm in Canada, you're in the States, correct? Where are you in the States?
Some basement in Kansas City.
Nice.
That's my office. Kansas City. I live outside of city limits. I've got a shooting range in my backyard. Life is good.
You're so country.
Yeah. I'm only 10 minutes from Walmart, so it's not too bad.
I mean, me too. I'm 10 minutes from my Walmart.
My business partner in the title company is in Calgary, and he's talking about what he can't do with firearms. And I'm like, dude, I got a 9mm on my desk. I got 2 rifles and a shotgun in the room with me. He's like, my goodness, that's crazy.
Well, here's the thing. You can own firearms in Canada. It's not hard to own a firearm in the sense that as long as you're not like some crazy felon, they do put you through a rigmarole of asking you questions. Like when you go to apply for a firearm license, so we call them PALs, possession acquisition licenses. And I have both. I have my restricted and my prohibited. I got mine way back in the day. And because I don't think they do restricted anymore, which is a handgun. I don't have any firearms myself. I don't feel that I need a firearm. Like it's pretty safe. I mean, most of the time people are going to come at you with a knife. And even then I'm like, I have enough rage to kill people. So, I mean, I'm old enough now, right? So, I mean, the gun, so you can own a whole bunch. Like I've got neighbors that have like multiple firearms, handguns, whatnot. They're all registered. And we have to travel with them in the, like away from the driver in an OPEG case. Excuse me. There's no problem with that. I mean, there's probably some people that they have like old school firearms, like an old school 22 or, like a rifle, a bolt action rifle they might have that's like hanging on their wall. It's no big deal. The biggest thing in Canada is to make sure that your ammunition and your firearm are they're not stored together. That's their biggest thing, and then also getting the possession acquisition license, which to me makes sense. I mean, I know that in the States you guys are different, but for me in Canada, to me, it makes sense. Like they ask you like a shit ton of questions. They're like, have you been recently divorced? Have you been recently, like they ask you those questions. And and they'll actually look it up because like all the government agencies will talk to each other on some level. If you're in some tumultuous divorce or separation and then you're like applying for a PAL, you can't get it for 5 years because what they say is if you're married, they're like, well, they call your spouse and say, how's the relationship? Everything okay? Person wants to buy a firearm. You cool with that? So you can't get past it, I mean, but then that's why there's probably a little bit of less crime in Canada.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the stats.
He's like, I don't know. I exercise my Second Amendment rights. That's okay. You know what? I'm not against firearms. So I'm not against them. I just think that guns don't kill people. People kill people.
That's right. Same thing. As there's so many different versions of that, and they're true in all aspects of life.
Yeah. Because it's not like the knife jumped out of the holder and stabbed somebody. People kill people. So yeah. People are capable.
So back in real estate, that's what I tell people is deals don't default, people do. And then I heard Warren Buffett. Yesterday, I just heard a quote on Instagram where Warren Buffett said, you can't do a good deal with a bad person. It's just not possible. And no amount of paperwork is going to overcome that fact.
It's true.
Shoot, man.
But what would Warren Buffett define as a bad person?
Crap if I know, but the concept rings true enough by my own definitions,
That's true. I heard something somewhere where it was like, depending on where the moral compass of somebody is, will determine on how they do business with anybody and everybody. So if your moral compass points in a direction that is so far from your own, you don't do business with them. That's one thing I've always learned with all of the entrepreneurs in my little world, coaches, whatnot, they always say the same thing. Find like-minded people, not people that are entrepreneurs, people who have similar values, ethics, morals that you do.
That's right. That's value.
Because if you don't, people are going to sidestep or they're going to overstep or they're going to step right on you. And you're going to be like, I didn't see this coming, but you should have, because if they didn't mirror some of those qualities that you look for and what you would do, then it's bound to happen. We've all made those mistakes where we've done deals with people where they are really good at showing you one side. They shake your hand with the right, but they don't show you the left. And then the left hand comes out and you're like, whoa,
That's
this
the
guy?
hand you wipe with. Whoa.
Better go get me a gun. No, just kidding.
Well, I also made a partnership evaluator. I'm good at just like retroactive review. I like requirement solicitation, business analysis. That sort of stuff is fun to me. And so I just run practice drills on myself too. And I built a partnership evaluator on Google Docs. I don't know if you publish stuff. I'm happy to give it away for free, but it comes with a link to a custom GPT that I made. It's like, fill this freaking thing out, give honest answers. I'll bet you don't know the answers to a lot of important questions about this person you've decided to go into business with. You should. So fill it out honestly, drop it in the partnership evaluator, and it'll say, hey, red flag right here. You need to have a discussion about A, B, and C. It's not necessarily a deal breaker, but it's a red flag that you don't know this.
Okay, so where is it?
I'll send it to you. It's just a Google Doc that I built that I just give out to people for free.
Okay, so if you're sending it to me and some of my people come at me and say, hey, Lisa, do you have this document? Can I send it out?
Yeah. You know what? I'll put it on calebchristopher.io. So I'll send it to you directly so you've got it. But it's calebchristopher.io is where I'll just start hosting, just spur of the moment ideas. Yeah.
No, I think that's great. I think people should be able to go and find you because you will get linked to TikTok and all that. So I'll make sure I link how like you and on
Do I have
how
to dance
to get to you
to be on TikTok?
Yeah.
Does it still have that stigma?
I don't know.
Did they get past the dancing stigma on TikTok?
I mean, kind of.
Good for them.
I never did mine was, so my personal TikTok account is just like doing like those silly little, where will you be in 2022? And then it like turns over and tells you something about yourself. I don't know. Right? It's like an algorithm of sorts. And I'm just like, and I just laugh and whatever. But that was for me to get used to being on camera, because when I was going to become a podcast host, as I am now, I was really quite nervous about seeing myself on camera. And it was like, it's a weird feeling, right? So you're like, do you stare at the camera? Where do you look? People are like, you got to look right into the camera. And I'm like, I can't look right into the camera because then I don't see the person and I got to look at the person that they're talking to me. So that's what I did. But then my business is like a whole bunch of other stuff. It has like a lot of clips from, so it's just short clips of all my podcasts, including a whole bunch of really cool, like memes and reels of, mostly memes of just different things inside of the trade space. So like mental health, cancers, relationships, breakdowns of relationships. It talks about everything. Because I mean, it doesn't matter where you work or what industry you're in. We all go through these things, and every single industry everybody needs help on where they can go to find these things. Like, to me, I think that even you, doesn't matter what you're into. If you're looking to buy real estate, these are things you need to understand. So that's just kind of how I look at it.
I like it.
So what else? You got any horror stories for me? Come on, let's go, Caleb.
Do you guys do any subject to deals in Canada?
What are they?
Subject to taking over, like if I bought your house and I just took over your payments.
Oh yeah, we call them assumptions. Yep.
Yeah, well, so assumption in my language, assumption is with bank approval.
Okay.
This is without bank approval.
So this is almost like kind of like a subletting aspect? Or is it just you come in and you just take over and there's no banks or nothing, you just come and take it over?
That's it. You
and the
give
title
me the
comes
deed.
into your name.
Yep, you give me a title comes
I
to
don't
me
know
and
if
I
they
make
do
your
that.
payments.
I don't know enough about the real estate market if they do that, but let's talk about it.
So that's what my first company does. Like, all we do is help people do those deals. So if you have one, like if you're listening in the US and you convince your neighbor to let you take over their payments, call Caleb. Like you said at the very beginning, it's like, I'm a resource. You don't need to know Caleb's name until you're in a weird real estate transaction. And then it's like, oh, yeah, that's the guy to call, right? Because he knows all the weird stuff. A realtor's world is this big. I focus my entire world on this big of the real estate spectrum, just being hyper-focused on really good at creative finance transactions. And so, yeah, no banks involved, maybe private lenders involved, maybe some seller finance.
Okay, so with that being said, help me understand. So what's the difference between someone like you and like maybe a mortgage?
We are enemies. No.
We are enemies. We duel at dawn.
Yeah. No, so a mortgage broker is somebody who connects institutional finances to individuals. They qualify borrowers and set them up for loans. And the broker usually sells off the loan or gets paid a commission or fee for putting the loan together and qualifying the person. For me, I'm helping people who are already finding. I'm not the deal maker. I'm the deal doer, facilitator, which is also why I started a title company, because I was doing enough consulting where it's like, all right, I know more about this stuff than the professionals who are licensed and running the transaction. So it's time for me to run it. But like if you and I agreed on paper, or we at least have bullet points or a verbal agreement on, yeah, I'll take over your payments. You give me the deed. I'll either move in as my primary residence, turn it into a rental, Airbnb, whatever. You're usually doing that because you can't afford the payments anymore. And I'll give you some cash. I'll give you $5,000, $10,000, maybe $50,000. Depends on the deal. Everything depends on the situation. But you give me the deed and I promise to take over your payments, and you can foreclose on me when we do it right. There's a lot. I'm skipping a lot of stuff here, guys. But I basically give you the right to foreclose on me if I don't make the payments.
Gotcha. So there's still some sort of engagement. And what's the timeline of that engagement when you do that?
You mean how long you and I have to be buddies? Yeah, as long as that mortgage stays active.
Gotcha. So is at any point, do you ever just say to them, I'll take over the mortgage payments and you can still reside here and subsidize it?
No, absolutely not. That is dangerous. Familiarity breeds contempt, and it's not like what, from an investor standpoint, I like the line of thinking, but every avenue you go down, bad idea. Don't do that. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make financial sense. And you're just setting yourself up to be a villain in the long run, because you promised them continued home ownership and the buyback or some other crazy thing, but you don't turn an owner into a renter in the same house.
No, you know what? I mean, I guess that makes sense, because when you think about it on the other side of it, it almost would be like you would be like a loan shark.
Yeah, exactly. So you're actually trying to help people. I've seen this where you're actually trying to help people, but in the eyes of the law, you also look exactly like the people who do what's called equity. They classify it as equity theft, right? I come in, buy your house at a super duper discount, promise that you can buy it back at a slight markup, but you also have to pay an exorbitant amount to live in it while you save up money to be able to buy it back from me. And it's like, it's selling hopes and dreams that the person's never going to be able to execute on. And it's a dirtbag move. And then when even the nice guys look like the bad guys when you do it.
Yeah. It's true. There's a lot of different things that go on here too. We have a lot of different governing organizations that oversee a lot of the deals that go on in real estate. We have a governing real estate council. We have all kinds of stuff. So if someone's angry, they can call these councils and they go in and investigate. And you can lose your license. You can lose, your licensing for any type of real estate that you're dealing with. You can, like, whatever area you're in, you can lose your license. You can
That's why I'm an unlicensed consultant.
But you're in the States.
Yeah, but I just don't do. I call myself a consultant. I provide opinions and materials and documents and things like that, and say you need to engage your own counsel. Now, I know more than most legal counsel does. I've seen and touched and done more than most of them. So my opinions are pretty heavyweight, but technically they're not legal advice. And so I avoid licensing because I don't want those handcuffs where somebody can threaten to take away a license. I like to say what I like to say.
I like you, Caleb.
Me too.
It's true. I feel the same way. When people throw shit at me, I'm like, no. I have all kinds of designations and whatnot, but I'm not licensed anywhere in Alberta. I'm a consultant as well because I want to be able to say what I want to say. I don't want to have to go stand with an owner and have them ask me questions about a project, a construction project they're doing, and go, well, Lisa, how come we didn't see this coming? And I'll be like, what do you mean you didn't see this coming? It's in your reserve fund. It's in your bylaws that maintenance has to be done by the corporation. How long have you been on the board? Oh, you've been on the board for 10 years. You should have seen this coming for quite some time. You're supposed to be reviewing your reserve fund once every year, and then having it redone once every 5 years. So I don't know why we're having this conversation. Whereas if I was licensed, it would be all like fluff and marshmallows and like, I don't know either. We should go back and look at this. Like,
right. Because for somebody, you can be a really good person and be a consultant and provide a lot of value, but that also insulates you from some of the liability issues. But you can also be a douchebag on either side of the issue, whether you're licensed or not. And then unfortunately, the goodish people on the lighter end of the spectrum, they have to play dumb so that they don't, what's the word? They don't get themselves in trouble, basically. Self-incriminate.
True. Agreed. For me, I just feel that there needs to be honesty. If you want transparency and honesty, it's not always going to come in a sugar cone cup. Sometimes it's going to be real talk. It's going to be to the point. It's going to sound a little harsh, but then my favorite line with people, and some people are like, oh, that's just an excuse. And I'm like, no, it's not. I can't control how you perceive my communications. I'm giving them to you. I'm telling you what brass tacks are, how you can fix it. My job is to be a problem solver. And if you don't like how I've issued my communications as a problem solver, and the reason I do it is so that there's no miscommunication. You're not reading between the lines, or I thought she said. It is clear and concise. And if you want me to be more marshmallow fluff, then that's a personality conflict. Because I can't control how you perceive my communication. And a lot of people are like,
I remember I forgot that thing a long time back.
Oh, what is it?
I found it. And you reminded me. There's two ways to write things. And this is what I teach my contracts team, because we help people with these contract write-ups for creative deals, because there's a lot of stuff that goes in there. And I train them. I'm like, listen, there's two stages of maturity here. One is capturing all the stuff and writing it so that it can be understood. We want to do this, 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 and this. Anybody can get to that stage. Stage two, very few people can get to, but I want you to try. Because stage two is where, number one, you can be understood, but you also write it in a way that it cannot be misunderstood. And that's a whole separate level of maturity. And it's just a different mindset of asking, like just attacking your own thing. Like, hey, we built the contract. Take it over to GPT and say, if I was opposing counsel for the buyer, what could I say is missing? How can I attack this? How can I misinterpret this to my own favor? Just try to break stuff and then go back and patch it up.
Well, that's what makes people, if you want to be really good at your craft, you have to think like that. So I remember when I was going through a legal issue, and my brother and I were dealing with a legal issue with my dad because he had passed away, and the insurance companies were trying to they did like a bait and switch type thing up here in Canada. And I was not a very happy person. So But because I was someone who worked in an industry where I had to think like both sides, what would I do to get them to do this? And what would I do to defend it? So that's how I thought all the time. So then I went to my brother and I was like, this is how we're going to deal with it. These are all the things they're going to pull. These are all the things they're going to try and come at us with. These are the defenses of those. And because my brother was the front person on it, because he's the oldest, and he went on the attack with basically everything that I had told him is, these are what they're going to come at you with. Or I shouldn't say he wasn't on the attack, he was more on the defense, but he was very well received because he had the answers quickly and he could basically put them in their place and say, no. And this is why. And that's something I agree with you on, that you have to think like both sides. If you can only think like one side, if you're only the shark, then you're only gonna do shark things. But if you're, I don't know, a different kind of
shark
fish,
was a bad analogy.
Your shark was a bad analogy. Well, let me think of that. But if you're a barracuda, no, I'm just kidding. No, but if you're you're like two predators, Lisa, two predators. But no, I mean, I guess if you're a lion, you think like a lion. But if you're a gazelle, you have to think like a gazelle. That's true. A gazelle has to think about how they're going to get out of the situation, right? So what do gazelles do? If you ever pay attention, when you ever watch those animal channels, they're actually really smart. They actually have little clicking noises. They have little ways that they can distinguish when there's a problem, they almost have eyes in the back of their head. They're always listening for certain noises. So they're already on the defense, waiting for something to happen and having an exit plan based on what they're doing, right? So that's how I look at things all the time, right? If you're only going to be the person that's the predator, be prepared to meet your opponent at some point down the road. Because to be honest with you, two lions fighting is actually quite funny. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
Caleb's like, what do I say to this? It's National Geographic.
Throw a spider in there, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, black widows are dangerous. Should we get into Australia?
No.
No,
we can cut off the show at that point.
He's like, no more finance. It's all good. Okay, well, we actually can wrap up the show because we are just coming into the top of the hour. So we're coming in, 45, or we're almost going to be 45 minutes in. And I think you brought a lot of really great value to the show. And I'll tell you, because there's so many people, like I said, I don't know all the rules and regulations when it comes to the financial aspects of Canada. So there's probably going to be a lot of people that will reach out to you. And even people who have properties in the States might also want to talk to you as well, as in Canadians that have property in the States, and then people who have States properties in Canada. There's a lot of crossover. So, but I mean, the podcast goes everywhere. So you guys can reach Caleb at calebchristopher.io, and he will help you navigate all of these little complexities that you can't even begin to even think about when you're first starting to buy a property. So if you have complexities, this is the person you need to tap and say, hey, can you help me? Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Absolutely. And you're going to send me a document, which I super appreciate. And then I'm going to put it online, but not quite the document. So I'll kind of blur it a bit so that they know that there's one that exists and kind of a little bit what it looks like. Is that okay?
I don't care if you give it away. I mean, I've got a footer in there so people can reach me. I've got title companies that have started using my documents, and some of them modify it. I'm like, whatever, man, because it's what's good for the community. It's what the people need. Because I make really good documents, and others just left my footer on there, and they just include my documents as part of their standard closing documents now because I've thought through all this stuff.
Well, and that's amazing. That's something to totally be celebrated, Caleb. You're doing really well and you're smart. And so you've done this. I don't have any reason to change anything from you. So all of the information and how people can reach you. And like I said, you have a YouTube channel. You've got over 4,000 subscribers. So congratulations to you. It's hard to get a lot of subscribers on YouTube. So you're doing well. And this is just talking about finance and all the little niche-y type things inside of the real estate world. So I love that. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, everybody, you guys will catch us next week on the flip side. And as always, don't do anything crazy.